I hope that your Thanksgiving table was full of blessing. The obvious kind of blessing. A roof over your head, a family recipe that you had the joy to cook, or alternatively, the absolute joy of not having to cook. Loved ones around the table. Maybe you even have the tradition of going around the table and sharing something that you're grateful for. This year, I experienced the blessing of friends who welcomed me into their home. I had the blessing of a rousing round of Hine Matov led by a 3.5-year-old with a ukulele, and the blessing of a 6-month-old trying mashed potatoes for the first time and sharing them with the dog. Sometimes the blessings that surround us are obvious, especially at this time of year. And yet, it's precisely at this time of year that the challenges we face become more obvious too. The world tells us we're supposed to be grateful and happy and joyful and up, and that makes us feel worse if we're grieving or we're sad or overwhelmed. I am here to say that all emotions have a place at all times of the year. There is not a requirement for how to feel at one time of the year versus another. There's no wrong feeling. But I have been thinking about how we can access joy and gratitude even amidst our sorrow. And I do think, I am a rabbi, I think there is a piece of wisdom in this week's Torah portion that we can learn from. Vayetze. Here's what happens. Jacob left Beersheba and set out for Haran. And he came upon a certain place and stopped there for the night, for the sun had set. Taking one of the stones from that place, he put it under his head and lay down there. And he had a dream. A stairway was set on the ground, and its top reached into the sky, and messengers of God were going up and down on it. Jacob's dream is one of the more famous pieces of our Genesis story, but while I was reading it this week, I was struck by a small detail. The staircase, or the ladder, in Jacob's dream reaches from the earth to the heavens. And I've always imagined angels, or messengers of God, coming down the ladder and then going back up. But that's not actually what it says. And I see some of our Saturday morning Torah study people going, that's not what it says, Rabbi. They know. Because it doesn't say they come down and then they go up. We read that the angels were going up and then coming down. Now is when you might stop me and tell me that I'm nitpicking. That it means the same thing. It's just a turn of phrase. Who cares whether they go up and then down or down and then up? But in Torah, nothing is just a turn of phrase. Everything has a meaning, and we can find it if we try hard enough, and the rabbinic commentators certainly did. So what did some of them have to say about the angels going up and then coming down? Well, Rashi teaches us that the angels first went up and then went down because on Jacob's travels to Haran, he was leaving the land that was promised to get to Haran. And since angels, there were some angels that were assigned to do God's work inside the land, and other angels that were assigned to do God's work outside of the land. This was essentially a celestial shift change. Some angels went up, other angels came down to continue the journey. Chizkuni, a different commentator, saw it differently. He wrote that the angels climbed the ladder similarly to how a human being would climb a ladder up into an attic and then come back down. Since the land that Jacob was sleeping upon was holy and would become God's dwelling place, the angels would also dwell there permanently. They just went up the ladder to share messages with the other angels before coming back down to where they belonged. I could keep going. They have a lot to say about this. For a religion that doesn't deal much with angels in our modern day, we don't talk about this a lot. Our ancestors had a lot to say about them, because these messengers of God show up a fair amount in our text, especially in this part of Genesis. The messengers of God, or the angels, are the ones who show up to Abraham's tent to announce that there will be a child. They go with Abraham. They appear to Abraham at the top of the mountain. And here we get them in a dream going up and down a ladder. They appear multiple times. I'm not here tonight to teach deeply about angels or how they function. But I am interested in how it was that Jacob came to see them. Think about where Jacob is, both physically and emotionally. We talked about this last week. Last week, he left his parents' home after stealing his older brother's birthright. Imagine the biggest fight that's ever occurred over your Thanksgiving table. Multiply it by like 17. He stole a birthright. He's on his way to his uncle's home where his father sent him to go find a wife. He's traveling by himself. He's weary. He's exhausted physically. So exhausted he stopped in the middle of nowhere to sleep, and so exhausted that he found a nearby rock for a pillow. He has a big fight behind him that's still lingering with him. We know it's not resolved yet. He will meet his brother again in the future. He has a complete unknown in front of him. He's physically exhausted, and that is the state that Jacob's in when he dreams of God's presence being with him. When we talk about blessings and gratitude, we often hear people say something along the lines of, just open your eyes and look, goodness is all around you. But maybe when we don't feel surrounded by goodness, when we feel exhausted or down, maybe we don't need to open our eyes. Maybe we need to close them. Maybe it's not about looking around, but it's about opening ourselves to the possibilities of the unknown. Maybe it's about letting go of control and allowing the goodness to find us, to surprise us. Just like Jacob experienced in the middle of nowhere on the way to his uncle's house. And what happens when Jacob wakes up? When he awoke from his dream, Jacob exclaimed, "Surely God is present in this place, and I did not know it." And he sets up a monument in that spot to mark the place where God appeared to him. We too should take notice of the blessing in our lives, whether we saw it coming or it surprised us, especially when we're troubled. It's easy to forget our gratitude if we don't speak it aloud and share it with the people we love. Thanksgiving may be over, but our thankfulness shouldn't be. Like Jacob, when we are weary, may we rest our heads, hopefully on a better pillow than he had. May we continue to find goodness by looking outward, but also by closing our eyes. And may we always find reasons to share our gratitude aloud. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May that be God's will.